Good morning, good morning, good morning. The sun isn't shining, but the birds are chirping and you are breathing. Today is Wednesday, November the 30th, 2022. My name is Stephen Carnegie, and welcome to This Is Just a Thought. Today's word of the day, ambient, which means existing or present on all sides. Ambient. Hope everyone will enjoy or are enjoying their Wednesday hump day halfway through the work week we are. Still got to push forward, persevere. Gotta love it, gotta love it. Man, just like I said, the sun isn't shining here in North Carolina. It's raining, and that's because of some severe thunderstorms and tornadoes that has worked its way through the deep south and now moving up towards this way. We're just going to get rain and some heavy winds. But man, it has now down in Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, it just tore through. Whatever was in its way, it just tore through it. Houses, businesses, churches. Two are dead in Alabama as a result of these severe thunderstorms and tornadoes. I believe they said they spotted 92 confirmed tornadoes. Wow. Well, that's well. It is kind of odd to have this type of weather at the end of the year in November, but it's not unheard of. It is what it is. In stark contrast, in Minnesota, wow, they've gotten 8 inches of snow so far, and they're battling through that. And so much so, it was like blizzard conditions, whiteout, and they had to close the airport yesterday for a few hours. So you got snow in the north and severe thunderstorms and tornadoes in the south. Certainly is odd here in the south, but I guess up north it's not too uncommon or not uncommon at all to have that amount of snow in November, going into December and January and so forth. But in the south, to have these severe thunderstorms, it is kind of odd, but not unheard of. It has happened before. Wow, I just thought about that. Today is November the 30th. Tomorrow is December the 1st. Where did the time go? End of the year is almost here. Wow, where did the year go? Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Moving along here, man, and FIFA World Cup of Soccer, the United States defeated Iran 1-0, and it didn't come without controversy. It appears the United States Soccer Federation before the match tweeted out a picture or whatever, what have you, of the United States emblem with the Iranian flag, but Iranian officials are saying the Iranian flag was defaced. It was. They tweeted out the photo without the what they've called the Islamic Republic emblem. They took the emblem off the flag, the Iranian flag. That's their state flag. Now, the U.S. Soccer Federation officials said that they did that to bring heightened awareness and protest the unethical treatment of women and others in Iran. Understandable. That's you would get no quarrels from me about that. But why would you deface that flag like that? I know you were protesting the unethical treatment of women and others in Iran. I get that, got that, understand that. But why would you purposely just deface that flag? Give them a snub, perhaps. Was that anti-Muslim? I mean, we've spent the better part of going on 3 months here in the United States hearing and dealing with anti-Semitism. Have we not? With Kanye West and Kyrie Irving and now President Trump and I'll get to that in a little while. President Trump also has been thrown into the fire also with this anti-Semitism. So how is it that you can justify calling folks anti-Semite and some people Kyrie Irving was suspended from his job. Kanye West has lost X amount of dollars endorsement deals because he's made some anti-Semite comments, but yet and still the U.S. Soccer Federation purposely places an image out there where they purposely left off that country's deface that country's flag. This is called that. They did deface that flag. They just did. Um, I'm not trying to be a butt, but it is what it is. Why would you do that? Of course, to send a message, and that's okay, because I haven't heard anything from any U.S. officials, even from the U.S. Soccer Federation, no more than them saying, "Hey, we did it to protest how they're treating women in Iran." So I guess that makes it all right, but it's not all right for others to say anti-Semite things about Jews or what you deem to be anti-Semitism. But you can't deface a country's flag and religion and culture, and nothing said about it. Kind of the hypocrisy of it all. I got to be honest with you. That's hypocrisy 101. I often say that it doesn't amaze me anymore that the same things that folks are stand and scream and holler and stand on a soapbox and say they're against, they'll turn right back around and do the exact same thing as protests and say they're justified, or that's their reasoning for the protest. The old saying, two wrongs doesn't make a right, comes to mind here. Yeah, for you guys to sit there and deface that flag like that and purposely leave that Islamic emblem off, you guys knew full well what you were doing. You just did. As promised, man. Oh, wow. Looks like former President Donald Trump finds himself in the hot seat. Wow. Well, it appears, looks like President Trump invited Kanye West to dinner at his Florida home, and Kanye West bought what they're saying is a white supremacist. His name, I believe, was Nick Fuentes. Brought him along also to this dinner with President Trump. Now, President Trump has came out and said, hey, I invited Kanye West, and he bought this gentleman, Nick Fuentes. I never heard of him, don't know who he is. I didn't know he was a white nationalist. Now, Nick Fuentes is known for, if you guys remember a few years ago, there was a protest, a gathering, a rally up in Charlottesville, Virginia. He was a part of that. We all remember when those white nationalists or white supremacists marched through the streets of Charlottesville, Virginia with their tiki, the little torches. So, and Donald Trump said, hey, I invited Kanye, and Kanye bought this guy. I didn't know who he was. I didn't have any problem with him. We all sat down, broke bread, networked, and politicked. He said, hey, as far as it goes with Kanye and his controversy, I've always liked Kanye. He's always talked nice to me. We're always able to have good conversations. But many, of course, when this came out, hey, both Democrats and Republicans, they're demanding for President Trump to denounce, first explain, denounce, and just flat out denounce the whole thing. Like I said, President Trump has said, I didn't know who that guy was. He said he didn't know who he was. He never heard of him a day in his life. Never met him or heard of him until he showed up at his house with Kanye. So a lot of Republicans are saying that President Trump needs to apologize, in addition to denouncing whatever, what have you. And one in particular, leading Republican, came out and said that there's no reason for any president or former president to ever have a meeting or whatever, what have you, with a white known supremacist. Maybe. He said he didn't know the guy. So how would he know? I guess now they're saying, hey, and many Democrats are following suit. They're saying, hey, he needs to come out and denounce this guy and be done with it. But President Trump hasn't. Oh, President Trump and Kanye West, they stay in the hot seat, don't they? Man, it's just unbelievable. The mindset that, okay, I get that this guy is a white supremacist, and I also get the fact that they're now saying that Kanye West is he's anti-Semitic. I get that, got that, understand that wholeheartedly. But whatever their reasoning or whatever their beliefs are, it's their business. And as far as former President Trump goes, That was his house. He invited someone to sit down and have dinner with him. Who are we, as a society as a whole, to say to someone because you disagree with what they say or think? Kind of reminds me of that the old cool versus uncool thing when we were in high school. Don't hang with that guy. He's a dork or he's corny. Who are we to say that he shouldn't invite folks who he wants to his house? It just amazes me once again the mindset of some folks that say, hey, if we deem that this person is not worthy of interacting with, then you have to do the same. Now I get that he's a white supremacist. I just do. But last I checked, we're all adults. We all pretty much can do and say what we want to. We just have to deal with the consequences later on down the line. And it appears to be that's what's going to happen with President Trump and Kanye. Oh, man. I don't think Kanye has said anything. The only thing I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard from Kanye was, yeah, I know him. Yeah, I know he's a white supremacist, but I like him. We have good conversation. Hey, it is what it is. I don't think anyone walking the face of this earth has any right to tell someone who they can and can't have in their own home. Whether you like him or not, the former president, that's his home. He can have whoever he wants to. Imagine if you did that and the standard barriers and good faith police showed up or put out there that you had such and such at your house and they don't want you, no one should associate with you. You either denounce or no one will associate with you. Reminds me of that old high school thing, the cool kids versus the dorks. It just does. It just does. I just think we're going too far. We have overstepped our bounds as a society and dictating and telling people what they can and can't do, what they can and can't believe. If this guy is a white supremacist, so be it. If you don't like what he says or thinks, don't listen to him. And if you're of the mindset that you're saying to yourself, well, he spews all of this, there's no telling who's going to get wind of it and hear it and start believing it. If they start believing it, then they start believing it. It was in their mind, in their heart, in their soul the whole while. You and I, we don't have the right to just flat out denounce and say no one should associate with such and such. Just shouldn't. Oh, side note, by the way, I did watch that movie, Hebrews to Slaves. The controversial film that got Kyrie Irving suspended, and he had to pay the fine, and he had to go through the 5 or 6 steps to get reinstated and played once again in the NBA. I did watch that movie. It was very interesting. It was. It did bring some things to the forefront from a historical and biblical context. So, I mean, I watched it 2 times just to make sure I wasn't missing something. Yeah, there was some anti-Semitism in there. There was also some anti-Muslim in there. Anti-white, anti-black. It was anti-everything. It pretty much, like I said, it exposed or made you, the bare minimum, it made you think. It made you, I even went and did some research myself just to make sure for historical context that what I was seeing was correct. I just think maybe, just maybe, people may feel as though that was, slavery and the correlation with how the slave trade and interactions with black Africans here to America. I think a lot of folks say that was such a horrible time in history. Certain things shouldn't be talked about. You can't move forward if you don't talk about the past. Yeah, there was some anti-Semitism in there. Do I think it was purposely placed in there? I think it was in an historical context and biblical context as well. I just didn't find anything too horrific and horrible and damning to just say that because Kyrie Irving sent out a tweet of the link to the movie or the book that he shouldn't play in the NBA and he should be labeled as anti-Semitic. I just didn't find that. Like I said, I watched it 2 times just to make sure I wasn't set tripping. I didn't see it whatsoever. we, like I said, we as a society, this council nonsense is going way too far. As crazy as it sounds, uh, what if now these people that are being counseled, I guess they're being counseled because of the platform that they possibly hold and possess because they're celebrities or whatever or whatever, what have you. Now, what if, as crazy as it sounds, you and I, as regular citizens, were to say or tweet or post something that someone got a hold of and deemed anti whatever, and you had to do this, that, and the other to go back to work? How would you feel? Someone's opinion, whether you agree with it or not, it's just that. It's their opinion. I honestly don't think or believe Kanye West or Kyrie Irving. I don't think they're anti-Semitic. I just don't see that. As far as Kanye goes, Kanye is Kanye. I honestly think he was on an ego trip when he made those statements. I just do. And Kyrie Irving, I think he saw something that sparked his interest and he wanted to share. I honestly do believe. I don't think he's anti-Semitic in the least. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know? What do I know? Just a thought. Just a thought. But yeah, President Trump is in the hot seat along with Kanye West. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with Kanye? Man. All right, moving right along here also. Man, hey, look. Wow. This past weekend, we've been having a string or rash of shootings. We had one at a shooting in Lumberton, North Carolina at a Walmart. And then we had another one on Friday also in Greenville, North Carolina at another Walmart. 2 people were shot there. The first one in Lumberton, 1 was shot. And then we had a third shooting here in Raleigh, North Carolina at North Hills Mall. All of these shooting incidents, it appears that the victim and the shooter knew each other. The first one, they knew each other. It was at a Walmart on Black Friday. The second, there was 2 shot. They knew each other. They were at the Walmart on Black Friday. Man, Walmart is the spot, ain't it? It is. It appears that, I guess, it's like when you see whoever you're quarreling with or beefing with, when you see them wherever they're at and they just happen to be at Walmart on Black Friday, everyone knows that's where people go shopping, I guess, on site. Wow. Like I said, 2 shootings at Walmart, and then, of course, that shooting Saturday here in Raleigh, North Carolina at North Hills Mall. That shooter and the victim knew each other. Now, the second shooter in Greenville, North Carolina, that guy turned himself in the other day after he jumped out of a second floor window. He wanted to get away, so he jumped out the window. Police later retrieved a gun. They didn't say if that was the gun that was used in the shooting, but they retrieved a gun from him after he jumped out of a second story window. Wow. I guess he wanted to get away. I guess Walmart, years ago when I was coming up, it used to be Kmart. I'm not too sure if any of you are familiar with Kmart, but before Walmart, there was a Kmart. And there was a standing joke that we all knew and made light of, that whenever you went to a Kmart, you were guaranteed to see a domestic violence incident in the parking lot. There was always a man or woman, regardless of race or color or creed, in that parking lot arguing. So now it appears when you go to Walmart, you may get involved in a shooting. You take all your problems up to the Walmart and just unload it on site. I'm not making light of the situation, but that appears to be what it is. Just does. All right, let's go get it. And we're going to continue on, and we're going to stay right with Walmart, because I'm sure by now we all have heard had another mass shooting. And this one took place last Tuesday, the 22nd, 2 days before Thanksgiving, at a Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia. It appears 6 employees were killed by their supervisor. That's right. Wow. he believed somehow, some way. Well, here's what happened. Now, what they say is that these employees and other employees were sitting in the break room before the start of a shift. And it's one of those, I guess, power meetings that a lot of people, a lot of companies and the workplace have before the start of a shift, where they hand out work assignments. Walmart is quite big. It has a grocery department, regular general retail, electronics, garden, toys, whatever, what have you. So all of that has to be stocked, has to be replenished. So they were sitting in the break room going over the work assignments or getting handed out, delegated to them their work assignment. And apparently this 31-year-old man gets up and starts shooting and killing his fellow employees. He's a supervisor, so when he was supposed to be leadership. So he gets up and he starts shooting. Why, you ask? The simplicity of folks. Apparently, the police have found in his phone a manifesto and a hit list in which he had the names of those that he wanted to kill. I'm not sure if those people, I would gather, I don't know if he actually completed the hit list with the killing of these 6 people, but he had a list of people that he wanted to kill. Haven't heard if those that were killed were on that hit list. They found it in his phone along with this manifesto. And in this manifesto, he says that, hey, I was often picked at, ridiculed. They talked about me behind my back, to my face. They even compared me to Jeffrey Dahmer. Why, what in the hell were you doing inside of that Walmart for you to be compared to Jeffrey Dahmer? That's odd. You're just a supervisor at Walmart. Well, apparently it came out, and it continues to come out, because a young lady has filed a lawsuit against Walmart. I believe the total is $50,000, somewhere around there, if not more, maybe $500,000. She filed a lawsuit because 2 months before this happened, she filed a grievance against this manager. And she said that he was controversial. You couldn't work with him. He was just hostile. He was constantly spouting conspiracy theories. He was just angry all the time. And any and everything that you did or didn't do, he would write you up. In other words, he couldn't be got along with. No, and she wasn't the only one. There were some others that are saying the exact same thing about this guy. I mean, for you to actually, first of all, you created a hit list. Not only did you create a hit list, you also wrote a manifesto explaining your reasoning for what you did and why you did it, because you were being picked on. You're a grown 31-year-old man, and you were upset because you were being picked on. Now, of course, those that are coming out and they're saying mental health crisis. I don't know if I can give you that. I don't think this was mental health to me, because if you're telling me the police found a hit list and a manifesto, this wasn't mental health. You weren't screaming out for help. This was premeditated murder. He murdered these people. Now, he's dead, by the way, because he turned the gun on himself. So he couldn't even man up and stick around to face the consequences of his actions. Just couldn't. So he went the coward route and took his own life after he took 6 lives. I'm not being a arrogant, facetious jerk when I say that you get no empathy from me. This wasn't a mental health crisis. This is someone who's just evil. In addition, in that manifesto, he said that Satan, he had conversations with Satan in his head. I wonder how that conversation. I'm not making light of it but I just wonder, out of all the things that goes through your mind, out of all the possible things that you could say or do or conversations you could have, somehow, some way you pull Satan out. How does that conversation go? Because he said that Satan told him to kill those people, to create that hit list. to write that manifesto. So, like I said, you get no empathy from me. I don't see mental health anywhere in this. I see just evil, a murderer who believed in Satan, apparently. Because at the end of the manifesto, in addition to saying, hey, I believe in Satan, Satan's telling me to kill people, he ended it with, I'm sorry. Did Satan tell you to say, I'm sorry? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just oftentimes, to me personally, it's just disgusting and despicable that grown folks will use the excuse that at 31 years of age, and you're, I guess you're holding all of this inside you, that folks are picking at you. You can't get along with your coworkers or those that you're supposed to be leading because you're oftentimes seen as hostile and angry, and you're spiteful and bitter, and you can't get along, and you think that they're talking to you or talking about you behind your back. At 31 years of age, the only thing you can muster out to counter that is to create a hit list, write a manifesto, and have conversations with Satan and start killing people. Sorry to be that explicit. I mean, that is what happened. That's your reasoning. Or that was his reasoning. He was being picked at. He was being bullied. Here we go with that bullying mess. Sorry if I sound heartless or cruel, but that ain't no reason or no excuse to do something like this, to kill innocent people. There were some young ones. I believe the youngest was 16 or 17, something like that, a high school kid. To just be in the break room with people you see not every day, people you see a majority. The thing about retail for me, if I can explain it to you, when you work retail, that's pretty much your life. I just got to say it. You may have an 8-hour day, you may have a 12-hour day, you may have a 16-hour day. So for you to interact with these people for however many days, however many hours in the day, and for you to just jump up and start shooting because you thought they were bullying you or talking about you or treating you unfairly is absurd to me. You knew these people. You may have known them as only in a workplace environment, but surely you had some conversation, overheard some conversation about their family life, their personal life, what they did after they got off of work, and you couldn't find a common ground or a bond of some sorts because you were just that controversial. That young lady that filed that lawsuit that because she did that grievance 2 months ago, and then this happened. And it's also been reported by managers that he told the managers that if he was ever fired, he would retaliate. You guys knew this guy was a problem. It's often hard for those in leadership positions in retail because you don't want to offend anyone. You don't want to offend any of your employees. But if you have something like this, and if one of you managers, because he said that made that statement to the managers that if he was ever fired, he would retaliate. What happened? Who dropped the ball? Now Walmart has came out and of course apologized, and they've offered to pay for those for the funeral of those that were killed. Okay. I guess that's a good thing. Maybe not. Too little, too late, if you ask me. You guys quite possibly could have stopped this before it escalated. If that young lady made that grievance 2 months ago and she said nothing was done, she filed the paperwork and she hadn't heard anything in 2 months until that happened. And she was there that night. She was in fear for her life because she knew that she had filed that grievance and he knew who it was. Wow. Just I guess we have to pray for us as a society right now, because what we're doing and what we're experiencing is foolishness 101. You don't get any empathy from me because you're having a mental moment, because you can't cope and deal in society. You're grown. You are a grown-ass man. I can honestly tell you, at 49 years on this earth, I've been looked at, talked about, screw faced. I have just about every day of my life. But I've never thought of doing anything like this. And I've had some bad moments. I've been looked at side-eyed, straight-faced, cockeyed, any which way but loose. But I never thought of harming anyone like this. I did want to slap the taste out of a few folks' mouth, but nothing like this. Nothing to the point that I would get up and just start purposely killing people. Grown folks, come on now. You don't get a pass. You don't get any empathy from me because you're having a mental health crisis, because you can't deal with life. You can't cope. His family hasn't came out and said anything. They're probably too embarrassed, I would think. All right, let's move along here, man. I don't know if you guys have heard, and then I'm going to wrap up. Once again, there's possibly going to be a railway strike. Didn't we deal with this about 2 months ago, about in August or September? So what's going on now? Now, union organizers are saying, and they're upset because in that the old contract negotiations that we were told that everything was fine, everything was copacetic, they worked it out in August or September or whatever, they didn't include, according to these union organizers, they didn't include in there sick days for railway workers. How was that left out? So, apparently this strike is supposed to take place at the end of the week. So much so, President Biden is trying to avoid it, so he's got Congress and he's told them that, hey, whatever it takes, pass through this legislation so it won't shut down the railway system in this country. So U.S. Congress is now scrounging around and scrambling, trying to talk to union organizers and get this done. They want more sick days, better work, better pay, better working conditions, I should say. We all know, or we often hear of, that our railway system here in the United States is behind the time. We've heard the tales also of the train stations, how they need to be updated. So now it appears the workers are saying, hey, not only do we have to deal with all of that, we want more pay, we want more sick days, we just want better conditions all the way around. Who can blame them? I mean, honestly. But back to what I said earlier, I could have sworn we dealt with this back in August or September of this year, because top-ranking Republican that is now going to be the Speaker of the House, McCarthy, came out and he said, hey, wait a minute. President Biden told us back then that all of this was taken care of. Pretty much we would just have to sign a bill and move forward. Now we have to go back to the table and negotiate. And he's asking the president what happened. Why didn't he tell Congress and other officials and U.S. citizens before now, a few days before the strike is supposed to take place? Why didn't he notify or let others know what was going on? Oh, Mr. McCarthy's getting ready to be the Speaker of the House. He's already getting in the president's, you know what? It is kind of sad, and it got to question some leadership. Because like I said, we dealt with this back in August and September. And hey, we were told everything was fine. The railway strike had been avoided. Looks like we're right back down memory lane. Now, if you're saying to yourself that because of this railway strike, because many were saying that it's going to affect the economy and it's right here at the holidays, what they've said is it's not going to affect the holidays because a lot of the goods are already in the store. But if that strike happens after it will eventually trickle down to the U.S. economy. We all remember the ships that were stuck in the harbor and how that turned things inside out and delayed the process. So if they're saying if we don't make these agreements in this new bill for these railway workers, we could be right back again where we once were. Wow. Mr. President, maybe you dropped the ball on this one. I mean, to think that there could possibly be a railway strike. And if you're thinking that the railway, the trains, they really don't contribute to this country and the infrastructure, you're sadly mistaken. A lot of goods, medical, freight, industrial, retail, medical, construction, a lot of that stuff is moved throughout this country on the railways. So if that stops, commuter trains also, that means Amtrak, if all of that stops, we're right back where we were months ago with the supply chain debacle. And with a looming recession, it ain't the final nail in the coffin if this strike happens, but it will be one of the nails in the coffin for the infrastructure of this country. It just will. The railway system, it handles a lot of things that you and I don't think about. Because I can honestly tell you, up until now, this controversy within the past few months, I really didn't think that much about the railway system. Just like before, back here earlier this summer or late spring, with those ships sitting in the harbor and the supply chain, really didn't think about the goods that were coming from overseas on ships, the cargo ships. So a lot is being exposed, opening a lot of folks' eyes. Maybe it was needed. But yeah, it appears that the railway workers are saying no go. Either you guys give us what we asked for or what we was originally, because those union organizers are saying that was supposed to be included in that first agreement, and it wasn't. So I guess they went back and read it and said, no way. Give us what we asked for or else. It looks like the or else is a coming. I'm going to go on and get out of here. I got to go to work today. Well, I just want to thank everyone for listening, and also thank those that have already subscribed and liked some of these podcasts. I ask that anyone that listens hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notified when I drop these video podcasts. Hey, and as always, if you would like to hear the audio version, you can go over to Anchor. I'll be putting that in the description box also. I want to say, again, thank you. And I ask for you to also leave a comment. I won't bite. I just won't. I'm pretty thick-skinned. Hey, I've heard it all. There's really nothing much that you can say to me that I haven't already heard. It's just not. I want to thank you all for listening. Damn it. You get right to the